Well, hello. How are you guys doing out there? Okay, you're with Michael Crosby. Okay, I'm running for governor. Actually, I'm an ongoing candidate. Okay, I was running for governor before, and these people got caught cheating. But it's this huge mystery. You see, nobody in the justice system wants to do their job anymore. We have mass dereliction of duty. So, what do we call that? That's called treason. Been with the country since the very beginning. So as we keep having these people getting caught red-handed, what they keep doing is conspiring to continue with their conspiracy. So each hour of the day, they are reviewing what it is that they are continuously conspiring about continuing on their conspiracy. They know they owe people money. They know they've been screwing people around. They know they've been screwing people's businesses up. And it isn't that they don't care. It's we have no value to them. We're not even worthy of being counted. So let's talk a little bit about weaponization of data. We have a huge history of weaponization of data, and it parallels blood. If we want to look at the blood from the Royal German Empire forward, we're going to be looking at the children that they created. Marxism, communism, socialism, and all of the deaths associated from all of that activity. Because basically, we had World War I, World War II, and the main hidden people, the main players behind all of this, kept getting away again and again. In fact, what did they have? A very successful life because they're dead and gone. Their engineering worked for them very well. They got away with the crime. Yet, we spilled blood in World War I, we spilled blood in World War II, and we're not done yet. I mean, y'all can step up and talk about the complexities, but, the thing is, bottom line, all these people's deaths trace back to a genuine responsibility. And ideology, well, okay, for a moment, let's talk ideology before I destroy it. Colonial constitutional capitalism is very different than European philosophies. It's the main thing that's different. Oh, yeah, we got a lot of land and they don't. Okay, yeah, that's a factor, sure. But when you have people like the Royal German Empire invent things, use a spy department, get a couple hundred people together. Let's hire 30 psychiatrists that would make Hannibal Lecter look like a Boy Scout, because they're going to sit down with material and intentionally engineer it. And they know way ahead of time they are going to kill a lot of people. So what do? They use an array of different stooges. Karl Marx was a spy on the payroll. In fact, he was on multiple payrolls. As far as I can tell, he was also a syndicate member, so he got paid there as well. And who knows how many other areas he was also, on the payroll for. So the thing is that the problem with all of this stuff is it just keeps going and going, and we keep having people trying to claim it's a philosophy. Well, the problem is you can't necessarily have a philosophy if the structure of your organization is mass murder. Murder incorporated on big scales is considered, the high end of a RICO today. Definitely organized crime. So you can't teach it like it's a belief system. It belongs as a subcategory in criminology, because that's what it is. Now, you can split a lot of hairs and say, well, aren't the Chinese different? They didn't accept the full package as it was laid out. When the Russians came in, they said, nah, we don't quite want the full package. They didn't want all those hidden thousands of Royal German Empire people running around doing different dirty deeds. They'll do them themselves, right? Kind of, sort of, maybe, but we could try to show some more respect. There is a difference there, evolutionary difference, but most places around the world basically decided to say, yeah, we'll just get in bed with this communism thing. No one likes us anyhow. Why not? We need money. So people did it. But the problem is you can't move forward without personalized assets. Now, we have horrible, horrible things that have happened. We have, well, weaponized data attacking data. We have mystery of lost records. Lost records is one of the biggest problems that we have in the United States because there's a lot of business deals that happen. Most people don't have a clue what was stolen from them. Land, money, and other people want to control the narrative. So as you have money being invested from all these foreign interests, you have so-called false enlightenment intruding into the country, and they will do anything. They will bribe officials. That happened. So as we try to equate what happened on certain timelines, we have a huge problem. We have massive amounts of missing data. Now, this certainly is a huge problem. We definitely have a huge, huge problem here, because we have all these different players doing things. And, well, let's be perfectly honest, okay? We used to do things by hand. We wrote them by hand. So if you're looking for some really tight, complicated bookkeeping, don't get excited thinking for one moment you're going to find that, because it was a lot of work to basically keep track of the notes of what's going on in government. Now, we have a lot of other factors that other people just don't understand that occurred in history. If I jump around wildly, maybe I can keep you more interested. I don't know. Okay, War of 1812, 1814, Washington is burned to the ground, okay? The British come in. They have cheat sheets that are going to tell them which way to go. They know which buildings to go to. They're going to search through and grab the documents they want. This means they're going to go to key scholars' houses, scientist houses, beyond the obvious. Yeah, they're going to go to the White House. Okay, yeah, they're going to go to the archives. Yeah, they're going to go to the Department of War. Those are the obvious ones. Then you have the unobvious ones. They're going to go to other different buildings. Are going to go to the port facility buildings. They're going to go to all these different types of buildings because they want to get a hold of the records. They want to know what the United States was doing economically. Economically, because we were kicking their butt. We were under sanctions, and we set this incredible growth. Literally, we ended up at that point literally having as though 50% of the ships of the world were coming to the United States, yet our population percentage didn't indicate that. There was nothing to indicate that. We were set up to go on a super growth rate. So the way we were managing things had to be interesting because the British were trying to do everything they could, and they could not stop us. And part of this deals with the secret of how we built a republic. The idea was to infuse a form of East Indies Company. But our East Indies Company, we're all investors. We're all supposed to have unlimited access to the United States Treasury, which at first would seem like a joke since nobody knew who we were, really. Nobody had faith in our dollar. And we had all these war expenses. Where was all this money going to come from to basically promote the general welfare? And of course, for those of you who may not understand general welfare, basically economic wellness and going to commerce fairgrounds and organizations, farmers markets, diversities, swap meets. Okay, that gives you a small idea. What we want is actual fairgrounds where people can have fair dealings. So welfare is basically all about financial fairness and having a constant attitude available of fairness, almost like a circus environment. That might sound ridiculous to you, and you would say, yeah, that's totally dreaming. Is it? Is it? Well, that's part of the buzz about us doing what we wanted to do. We need a dream. We need to stick to it. And it has to be a straightforward opportunity. So this is what we were doing, and people have forgotten this. When you have people in government that have no idea how to sit down and come up with creative new ways to do something, then we have lazy people that are only going to keep adding taxes endlessly forever and ever. The problem is welfare is not taxation. We wanted no taxes. There's no justification for taxes. The modern version of understanding taxation is a series of college courses developed connected directly to the Royal German Empire, whether you believe it or not. Oh, sure, we could talk about the British input and a few other places, but we're different. We decided to be different. And there's all kinds of wonderful records that show we did do something. And then you could pull your hair out and say, I don't understand. These records still don't match. You know, that we would be spending more money than we created. And people say, oh, well, we just printed it. Not necessarily, not exactly. So there's a lot more things that people need to understand. If we're trying to understand what's wrong with all the missing records, once again, there's a lot of players. We got early bankers, financiers, ideology secrets. Everybody wants to get their idea into play and control the data. It was a big, huge problem. And of course, there are lots of things that are really brutal, such as let's go copy somebody's brilliant data and then we'll destroy their copies and keep a copy for ourselves. These are things people just don't understand. Documents stolen. Not just stolen because they were maybe worth something. They were stolen because it was sabotage. No doubt about it. So the British wanted to understand what we were doing, so they came in with a shopping list straight into Washington. They figured we'll go straight in. We're going to understand how they're doing this. We're going to get a list of all the people they're doing business with. That'll give us the evidence and the data to prosecute people. This is what you would do. It's completely logical. Yet it's hard in history to find evidence of this. So there are fragments that put things together quite nicely. We know that certain things had to happen. I mean, if you were a British officer, would you be incompetent if you didn't do minor investigations and go after certain data? There's a point of logic. Of course you would. Of course you would. You'd be incompetent if you didn't do some of that in the field. So what does that mean? They got sample documents. Some structures they went in, they had guys come out and say, yeah, here we go. We got some records of this. And they'd look at a few things. And the guys say, yeah, take this, put it in the satchel, save that, throw the rest of it on the ground, look over at the troops and say, burn the building down. And this is a lot of what happened. Of course, they're lazier than that. There was entire things where they might have said, yeah, we found a little negative stuff right here. Just burn down the whole block. Yeah, burn it all down. So it was a brutal thing, and people forget how brutal it was and what actually happened because it destroyed some of the most incredible data in the history of our nation. You could cry over it. I'm serious. Some of that data was so creative, so important. There were people who spent 100 years focusing, meeting, developing the highest end, highest ideology data. They did this. And many people can't comprehend it. They can't literally hold it in their brain. So here we are, stuck into a big, huge, multi-mystery situation. And we need to get more about it. But guess what? AI, if you know how to use it, like I know how to use it, I can do things that are mind-boggling. Myself, I can do the work of 1 million people in 1 hour. Now, the problem is a lot of people don't understand how to do that. Of course, what is your future going to be? You need key statistics. What are the key statistics you're going to need to understand about how data has been destroyed and how it's been weaponized? There are people who want you to be slaves. The year was 1750. Longevity was 38 years of age. It was something quite interesting. You see, in 1750, the average 12-year-old would begin to do carpentry. Interesting, isn't it? Because you were going to be dead by 38. So how could you have us founding the country when longevity statistical average was 38, but now we're expected to work for 42 years. So let's look at this. We've supposedly upgraded our technology. We're way more efficient. And now we're being told that we have to work for 42 years. And maybe, just maybe, you might be able to procure the American dream and own your own home. Well, that is one of the biggest lies perpetuated in this country. You could easily build 3 houses a year, even more. It's not that hard of a thing to do. There's people that know this. I've been running this down to people for more than 25 years. So why don't we let people build homes with their own hands? Forget the little story people started with. Oh, we just need a little bit here and a little bit there. It's genocide now. $42,000 minimum in California. And most homes that many people live in, it's more than that. It's like 48 to 52,000. There's a lot of people laugh and say, oh, no, it's closer to 80,000 for my permit or more. So how does this happen? It happens because we partially let it happen. And we have a problem with our justice system. The problem is we don't put people on trial and actually punish them when they commit major crimes. Now, I'm not talking about some kid that steals a candy bar or somebody that, committed what most people would perceive as a major crime. I'm talking about mass economic sabotage. I'm talking about treason. I'm talking about crimes that are so large. I'm talking about people who are committing genocide. There are more than 14 major international law violations right now concerning the average homeless. Many of them are owed money. Many of them are victims. Their brains are burned. They took the wrong job. They took the wrong drugs. They took the wrong life. Or maybe somebody just put something in a drink and they didn't even know. Stuff like that happens in Britain. They discovered the Russians red-handed, running around murdering their population. It can happen. People just are not equating. So how do you stop? How do you stop the big major stuff from happening? Well, you convict people of, the key word is mass. Mass economic sabotage. That's always supposed to be the death penalty. Nobody wants to enforce treason law anymore. That's what's wrong. All these people in life are worried that they have this slightly larcenous side in their life. They are. They're worried about it. They're completely worried about it, and they don't want to be punished. Well, people's personal fear of their own larcenous ideas are stopping us from moving forward because the level of criminal is mind-boggling. I mean, Hannibal Lecter, what level of criminal would he be? Oh, he murders people horribly. How many people? How many people? How does he compare to Adolf Hitler? How does he compare to some of these other people? How do we compare people that decide to remove effective cold and flu medication from the shelf? And the statistics, if you're going to, really get into doing the statistics on that, end up, like 70,000 people dead since they did it to right now. COVID hit us. People told them, hey, God help us, if we have a pandemic, you'll kill tens of thousands of extra people. They did it anyway. That is an act of evil that is mind-boggling. That's not, oops, we made the wrong decision. There was no reason for them to remove the cold medicine that was effective from the shelves to begin with. Some of it had basically been around for about 70 years. It was proven, beyond the shadow of a doubt, to be effective. So, in one swoop, boom. So now we have people that, let's check another category. Bring out the triage. You have people, they don't care how many people are going to die because they contract a deadly disease. You have AIDS. AIDS. Hundreds of thousands of people dying. Yet, this is mass death. Are they going to stand up and say, that's got to be a top issue, we got to deal with it? No. Their viewpoint is, we don't want people protesting around our house. I've personally heard judges say it. So they don't care. If somebody comes into court, the prosecutor steps up and says, hey, this person has 22 complaints against him. These people claim this person lied to them. They ended up with AIDS. This person, Your Honor, is here for solicitation. This is his 7th time. Your Honor, since the first time, we now have 6 people that had complained before that are dead, Your Honor. They died. They're dead. They're gone. Is this man a mass murderer? You have to do something. The judge is like, I don't want people protesting around my house. The judge, you got to at least give him the max. The judge says, no. How long has he been in jail? Oh, a week. That's okay. Time served. Let him back out. So how can you deal with the reality that some people have no idea how to deal with certain technical numbers? We have tactical tables and people don't care. They're going to turn around and say, no, we think that people having firearms is the problem. But you having firearms just might be a way for you to protect yourself with national security. And you have some people say, well, that's completely insane. Well, hold on a minute. Let's start looking at this. Well, the tactical table is we have a dramatic increase in drone use. Over 5 million drones have been used in war in the last 2 decades, mostly the last decade. So technically, the Chinese theoretically can have 200 million drones and be equipping them with nuclear batteries. They could fly clear across the Pacific Ocean, 200 million drones hit us. Whoop, come right in on us. How are you going to deal with that? We don't have enough military equipment to do that. So the only way that you could possibly survive is if you have a firearm. Of course, do you know how to use a firearm? I mean, gee, there's that. Do you know how to duck hunt? Do you understand anything? Do you think that somebody would need to teach you how to use a firearm? How to become a Minuteman once again? How to understand that what goes up comes down, and you don't want to be shooting things if you know those things are going to come down across the city and maybe hurt somebody. So you have to understand this. So teaching people how to use firearms and understanding how we screen everybody and say, can we help you if you have an emotional problem? Let's bring out the list. What are your emotional problems? Oh, they pack us in cities like rats with people cutting in line. They keep making sanctuary cities. People go, oh, that's horrible, is it? Let's look at the hard data. Now, 25 years ago, I did estimates as to what's going to happen with automation and AI. Now, Bernie Sanders did one about a year ago. Bernie Sanders basically came up with a little segment of a 10-year period. Basically hit my research right on the dot. So here it is, plain and simple. 100 million jobs are going to be lost. It's 9 more years now. 9 years. Okay, so welcome to reality. This means that beyond the shadow of a doubt that Bernie Sanders did an independent research and just proved my research. I'm vindicated. So, because what Bernie Sanders is telling you is that in 9 years, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that 92% of illegal aliens in this country will not have a job. That means no future. So there's no jobs, no futures. So why are people somehow implying that people are going to have a future if they come here? So they want to make sanctuary cities. Why is that? People with superior knowledge are perpetuating false narratives. This is wrong. It's evil. It's evil to deceive people and lie to them and try to imply that they're going to have a future when we know better. The numbers don't match up. We have all these people having their businesses ruined. We have people doing mass economic sabotage. They go into rooms. They're going to engineer mass demographic weaponization. They're going to constantly keep picking different combinations of people out and keep taxing them and taxing them. But what happens when you have people overlapping? What happens when you end up with individuals that have 9 extra overlaps on taxes for some reason? These people can't survive. Their lives are being destroyed. Now, guys like me, I was saying in 2005, we need to immediately invest $4 to $6 billion a year to come up with mass economic modeling software. People laughed at me. They laughed at me. But you see, with this kind of software and AI, basically, we will understand everything about what these people are designing and doing. See, I wanted to make something. At one time, I had a different attitude. I was going to make wonderful AI assistive tooling for people in government. But for some reason, there didn't seem to really be an interest. Well, unless you count, people getting violent, people shooting at me, people attacking me, people attacking my fleet of vehicles. How can you have a process of elections when you keep coming under attack? So we have our regime members. Julie Sue. Yeah, let's blacklist people. Let's take their name. We'll blacklist them, but we'll take their name. We'll go to the federal government and say, here, we're submitting this. Give us the money. We'll hand it out. So they're ruining all these people's lives, ordering their businesses shut down. Many of these people are just going through life. They're just trying to survive. And they're being pressed into a series of lies. They're being lied to. Oh, yes. They tell them, there's going to be help coming. There's going to be money coming. Just be patient. No, there wasn't going to be money coming. They put it into different accounts. Julie Sue put it into different types of accounts and starts giving it away to people who were not citizens to bring them into the country. Why would she do that? Would she do that because she's trying to invent ways to get new votes? You see, putting her head in an fMRI detector and administering Truth Pharmaceuticals would be something we should do in the interest of national security. Calibrate her head in, just get a really nice, long interview, which would lead to more interviews, more and more. So here we have a situation where 1.2 million people end up claiming fraud claims, and not all of them would complain. Not all of them would get addressed. So you have what? 2 people, 4 people? I think it was 4 people. They hired 4 people to deal with the backlog of 1.2 million people that were blacklisted as she kept handing money to people who were not citizens that didn't speak English. What is this? Ladies and gentlemen, that's called genocide. Let me say it again for you that don't seem to understand. That's called genocide. It's a crime against humanity. So we have all these people and regimes that are trying to present as though these people are not cooking something. These people are evil. These people are not, there's no enlightenment. There's deception. There's lies. There's death. There's blood. That's who these people are. They don't want to put a system in place that's going to protect you. They're going to put a system in place that's going to kill you. These people, as though they don't have a soul, they're getting more and more afraid. You see them on the media all the time. They're getting more and more afraid. Because there's people like me that keep sending in information saying, look what I found. You people are guilty. Look what you did. people, this is way, way past standing up and going, shame on you, shame on you. This is mass murder. You want to be sure we'll put their heads in an fMRI lie detector. Lie detectors are mandatory. They have been for decades. If you want a government job, you can't become a finalist until you sign off in advance. Pre-agree. I mean, being sure beyond the shadow of the doubt is the way to do it, right? So we can record these people's heads, and those that are evil and guilty, well, we can punish them. We can put the recordings literally in museums and bring our kids and say, look, this is what evil people look like. These are monsters, real monsters. Pay attention. See, that's what we need to do. And when people think that they can be excused, you have people getting 10 years in prison over a tax violation. They cheated on their tax or something. And then you have people that are responsible for genocide on scales that are mind-boggling. Are they being held accountable? No. They're supposed to be executed. We have to enforce treason law. And all these people do is keep standing up and making policies that have nothing to do with the mathematical realities of a tactical table. It just doesn't add up. That's who these people are. And people that understand tactical tables, we have people that are afraid. They're scared to death. They're buying guns. They're hiding bullets. They're scared to death of people that are trying to lie. This is all going to go bad if people don't agree to sanity, to show wisdom and have sanity. Because you might think liberal people or people who are claiming to be liberal are somehow the best people. No, they're not. It's not just ignorance. They become authoritarian. And they murder people. And they lie about it.